Hello, everybody. Welcome to Success Defined. I'm Ben McDonald, and today we are joined by Fabio Ansaloni. Fabio is going to bring an international flair to the podcast as he's held multiple international leadership positions really throughout the entire world. And currently, he is the COO of Mirage USA here in Nashville, Tennessee. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for coming.
So travel has always been an important aspect of your life. So I want to start there. Why is traveling important for you?
Well, I think I spent like the first part of my life in Italy without basically traveling unless it was inside the country. And I started, let's say, feeling the need to explore the world and see more what is outside the country and outside, let's say, the company or the Italian company.
Yeah.
So I started picking a job that brought me outside, especially Middle East and also Europe, around Europe. And then after this, I had the opportunity to travel quite often, I would say a lot to the United States. So this was something that basically was growing and building on top of previous experiences. I feel the need to explore more countries, more, see more people and different places. So I went to the United States. I traveled around the United States quite often, and then I decided to go back to study. And this brought me to move to another city in Italy, and then I went to Paris for another working experience. And then this ended up in the United States, in Pennsylvania before, and then here in Nashville.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Experiencing all those different places. And you had mentioned the word experience. So what role has travel played in your life? Because you've experienced all these different countries. How has that shaped you as a person?
That's a great question. I think all the aspects of your life are, let's say, affected or touched by traveling, by different people, especially when you meet or really different countries like the Middle East. There is completely different, and you are a guest there. So you have to, let's say, adapt yourself, shape yourself to stay in the country, do business with the people in that country, try to understand how they act, how they do business, and how they behave outside the business, because you're going to make friends there. And, I still have some friends there, which we're already really close. And I really like this. So you really understand there is a different world outside there, and there are a lot of people that can bring you very important things that can help you to grow like a person and also like a business person.
Yeah, and you differentiated in that answer the personal and then the professional and the business, right? So when people think of travel, a lot of times it's leisure, right? When you're going to different countries and things like that. Let's talk on the professional side. What was it like going from one country to another, not just for travel, but actually for business and working in all these different cultures and countries that you really had to adapt to?
Well, yeah, actually, when you work when you travel for business, you don't really have a lot of time for yourself, but you try to find something, because when you stay there like several weeks, you have also to enjoy yourself, and you create like a group of friends or people that you are closer than outside the business, let's say. This is pretty important, and I think it's, if you really enjoy the moment, if you really try to take the best from the experience, even in the worst situation, maybe sometimes you travel because you have some issues and you go there to visit the customer, which is totally unhappy with you and they're mad at you as part of the time. But I think you can get the most important part, which is the experience, and learn from that and build on that. So whenever you go somewhere, I think you come back with you are a bit different. You behave in a different way. You know something more than before, and this is something I think is the most important part in this is what do you expect from the trip? What do you expect from this experience? And if you are really focused to learn from experience, so be active, proactive, and not be passive for this trip or things.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That seems like the right mentality, right? If you're going to go in there, being proactive is going to put you in a position to really learn and grow. So you had mentioned earlier the competitive advantage of having all this experience of different countries and experiences and cultures. What competitive advantage has this provided for you and furthered your career?
I think that everything could be wrapped up in one word, which is you are more open-minded. It's, the mentality. I grew up in Italy, which is a completely different mentality from other countries. It's not better or worse. It's simply different. So the more aspect of the life you see, the more you are able to adapt yourself to something different and have a solution when you face some issues. And it's like create more connection in your minds and in your brain. So you have a different opportunity to solve an equation to reach a good result, or probably a different result from the result you can get if you are, let's say, you are shaped from one single country and one single mentality. And obviously, the more you travel, the more you face different experience, different issues, and the more you face them, the more you get used to solve this problem. And the more you understand the people who is around you. Now, I think the business is not anymore one single country for sure, but it's not just Europe, just the United States. It's global. So, and being global, I think there are several differences between countries. It's very important to know where we are going to do business, who is the people on the other side, understanding their needs and the way to face problems and to solve different situations. Yeah, so this is, I think, very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. Let's dig deeper on the different aspect, right? Not necessarily better or worse, but different. Coming now to the United States and doing business here, how is business done differently here in the United States?
This is interesting because as Italian, I think our mentality is try to find a solution in what doesn't matter what's the way. And probably in that, as Italian, we are really trying to go around the problem, sometimes around the rules, but reaching the target. So I think we are good at this, but we are not really efficient. While on the other side, maybe you go from A to B in a very efficient way. So
here in the United States,
here in the United States, you really what I saw here is that you have a really efficient way to do things, which is even I think you can see that even in the different business that grew in Italy or in the United States. In Italy, we have very small business, usually family-owned. They're run by the family and by the son and so on. But they are small. They don't replicate themselves. They grow up to a certain level and they stay in that way. Here in the United States, if you have a small business which is successful, so there's the right formula, they start replicating the business and creating like chains, basically. So you see the most successful, like Starbucks, McDonald's, they were based here because here the mentality is try to find a solution and replicate itself in the more efficient way possible and expand the business. Expand from one single state to the other states and even outside the country. In Italy is different. So I think I'm talking about the two opposites here. Right. And probably the good way is the middle, I think. I don't know, like always there should be a balance. But this is something that if you travel from one country to another, you immediately feel that. And I mean, it's something, it's not bad or good, but it's different.
Yeah, like
it's different, and probably due to the past history of the two countries, how they developed themselves in the past, the people, the schools, it's different.
Yep. And let's go back to that competitive advantage of having a different perspective. How have you been able to use that, both here in the United States and then vice versa, doing business internationally, where you get to learn the efficiency of the United States, you get to learn of the problem solving of Italy, and how have you been able to use that competitive advantage to improve your business interactions in different countries?
You basically, as I was saying before, you try to balance the two aspects. So you have some needs which probably from the headquarter, they are asking for this kind of result, and here you have, let's say, the instruments to achieve those results. So it's not done in one single way.
Yeah.
You always try to balance what you have in your hands and what are the requests. And especially for like a new business that you have to develop, not from scratch, but almost from the beginning, there is a lot of different aspects that you have to keep into consideration. And I think that the best way to do that is knowing what is the final target, ask for people which is local, and they review all the, let's say, the aspect of the business, the boundaries, what is the best way for them, and then try to change a bit the boundaries of those of the solution, trying to adapt to the current situation. So
do you get pushback on that when you try and bring a different mentality?
Yeah, as always. It happens on both sides.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm used to that. But
how do you combat?
I mean, the best way is to put on the table the solution, the target that we have to achieve, and try to, let's say, support your solution or the ideas with numbers or with something which is real, which is tangible. This is the best way to do it. Obviously, it's not always possible. You don't have always the solution. You don't have always the numbers to support you. And then you have to find a neat solution that makes almost everybody happy.
Yeah, but you almost have to map it out for them and show them, hey, this is where you want to be, and this is why my solution is going to get you there.
Yeah. And obviously, you have in the game sometimes people which is like only local, sometimes you have people which is only from another country. It really depends. So I think every time we have to, let's say, design a solution proper for this case and the people involved in the case.
Yeah. All right, let's pivot the conversation a little bit to what you're doing now. So before anything else and before we get too deep, just explain what does your COO role consist of, a little bit about the business, things like that, to give the viewers and the listeners a little background.
Yeah, it's funny because I was asked this question also by some other people, and I like to say almost everything from toilet paper to everything else. But this is the real thing, basically. I mean, building the company is 40 years old, so it's a well-established company with a good running business. The company here, meaning offices, operation, that's different, that's pretty new. It's like a new branch. So we have also the feeling of a startup here with on your back an old company which has everything already running in a proper way. So what I'm doing, or what I'm trying to do, is try to replicate the company and functional department like sales, customer care, true operation, like the production parts, shipping and everything else, plus all the financial part, putting them all together in, let's say, an efficient way. So let's put it in this way. So the company was already there. They did a great job Now he's trying to make it like more efficient with sort of structure here, and in a well-defined way to, let's say, to be supportive for the customer and to run the proper operation to avoid every problem that we have due to the small size that we have like a new company.
Right. Yeah, it's a unique situation, having the established business, but also having the startup feel. How did you get into this role? What led you to this position?
So I was with this company 5 years ago almost, and I was a sales rep, area manager, so taking care of different markets, developing markets. And after a while, I felt something was missing on my side. So I have a background as a mechanical engineer. Everything was really focused on the marketing or mechanical side. Anything related, unfortunately, there was anything related to the financial part or the management part, I would say. So I decided, even if I was pretty old for that, I decided to go back to study. So I did my MBA, which was split in Italy and in the United States, in order to, let's say, complete my practical side with the management side, the financial side, to be more a complete, let's say, business person.
Yeah.
And after that, I was always in touch with my company, and there was this opportunity to, let's say, this opening as a COO in the United States. I thought it was an interesting role and an interesting position, because basically you have the possibility to start from almost scratch in something new, build up, and also use what you learn just right on the MBA.
Yeah. So you had those experiences prior, and a variety of different experiences, right? Mechanical engineering, being in area sales, things like that. And then you get your MBA. Now, stepping into this COO role, what were a couple of your biggest unknowns going into this?
The biggest unknown was, and it still is, trying to put all the people on the same page and have an efficient way to do things. So you know that you have to do a specific thing, and a lot of different people, different areas, I would say, in the company, different departments are involved. So putting together all those people, all those departments, sometimes they are based also in different states, or one is in Italy with different time zone, different mentality. In order to achieve the same goal, it's not always easy. It's not always easy. And build like a process from scratch, even that is not easy. I mean, you can face a lot of pitfalls, I would say.
Yep.
And this was one of the biggest unknown. And the other one was the, let's say, financial part, which is, I mean, you learn on books, you see a lot of cases, you see everything, but then when you face the real life, it's sometimes a bit different.
Yeah.
And you have to work on it to improve yourself and improve the business. So, interesting, but it's challenging. So it's good.
What are a couple of your favorite aspects of this position?
The same thing.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
the challenge.
The challenge,
okay.
The daily challenge that you face. The fact that you have something to improve or solve, and you have to come up with a solution. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So I want to ask a couple more questions on the personal side. So talking about you as an individual, what's your grand vision? What do you see for yourself? What do you want to accomplish?
I would like to grow more as a person first, and on the professional side as well later. So those things, they go together, I think, but you have to give a priority to one of the two. I think personal life is more important, because what you are is like your personal life, and then this will drive also your business life. This is at least what I think. So, another thing is that we say do not sit down. I mean, meaning that you have always to look forward for the next step, for the next improvement, for the next yourself, I would say. And this is something that it is really part of me. So trying to always improve yourself to not just bring what you have to do, but do something a bit more and explore different areas. So passion, that could be a passion that isn't now, it was in the past, which is finance. This passion brings you to explore a different world, to look at the business on a different side, to look at the world on a different angle. So this is something that keep you alive and doesn't allow you to stay with what you say. That is, I think, the death of the brain if you don't try to evolve.
Yeah. How do you balance the growth and experience on the personal side with your day-to-day professional responsibilities?
That's pretty hard. And we come to the balance side, which is an important aspect of my life. As I was saying before, I think that one important thing in your life is to find a balance, but not meaning that everything has to be on the same level. But yet you need to have everything in your life, at least what is important. Mm-hmm. Then you have to prioritize something, which is your goal. But don't forget about everything else, because what you are is not just one single thing. You are probably mainly one single thing, but you need everything else to, let's say, support your daily life. So putting them together is not easy.
Right.
Yeah. You, especially, I mean, when you're really focused on your professional side, you tend to forget your personal life, which means my family, obviously my wife, and you need also to do some sport. Your mind needs some sport, you need to relax and to do not think to something for a while and be focused on something else. It's not easy, and you have to plan that. Okay. I'm trying to plan that, and I'm asking the help also of my wife, which is she's also planning for me sometimes. But you really have to stick what your plans are. Otherwise, your priority becomes your life and your own focus, and you miss a lot. Yes, a lot. I don't want to be, 60 years old and say, yeah, I did really great here, but everything else is awful. So that's not my target.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you get back to your priorities, but the planning aspect, having your wife hold you accountable is certainly useful as well, I'm sure. So that's great.
Yeah, she's really committed to have you respecting the plan.
That's good. You need that in your corner. So let's take that a step further. You have these different priorities. If you were to create an ideal day for yourself, what's included in that day? What do you want to be a part of your ideal day?
So I think there should be family first, because it's always important. It doesn't mean that I spend the most part of the day for or with the family, but has to be there, and it's really important, at least to me. And the professional side, obviously, your job has to be there, and then let's say relax, which means to me sport, which can be whatever. Could be gym. I really love beach volley. When I have time, I try to the beach volley field and play there, which is great. I love skiing, which after I moved here, I don't know if I will be able to do that, but I'll try to. So yeah, I think 3 things are important: business, personal life, and kind of relax for. I would say a moment for yourself, which could be whatever you like, but you need a moment for yourself to, let's say, think about the day and try to understand if there was something wrong, something that could be improved, if you, let's say, learning day by day, meaning learning from what you just did, and if you can improve for tomorrow maybe. So I think for that, if you are focused on something or in front of a monitor with customer, you don't really have time to do that. So you need to find for yourself like a few hours and think about no television, nothing else. And obviously I'm Italian, so I need food, good food. So this has to be part of my day as well. But actually, I think it is another important topic. The kind of food you eat. I pay a lot of attention to that. This has an old story that I think we don't have time to talk about this, but I think
there's no time limit. We can talk about whatever we want.
It's a really long story, but I think the kind of food you eat is really important for yourself, for your health, for your brain, and even for your future. So I spent a bit of time studying about food, different type of food, organic, meat, no meat. I think, like always, you need a balance. You don't have to be on one side. You don't have to be extreme. But you have to pay attention to that. And actually, right now, I think that in this modern world, just few people they pay attention to the food, and that's really bad because I don't think the consequences of what we are eating now, a lot of people are thinking about what's going to be in the future, what's going to bring us in the future. So I think that good food and proper, let's say, lifestyle, it's really important. It's really important. And this also affects your brain. I mean, your brain, your.
Yes. What my wife and I had to do was we ended up. We used to measure everything out, but it takes forever. Having 2 kids, it's difficult. So what we do instead now is we just make all the food for the week on Sunday, and you have it all in different containers, and it's easy then, right? You got it made, you get it, and you're done. So it allows you to eat the right things in the right amounts and things like that, without it being a major ordeal throughout the whole week because you get busy.
Yeah, I agree. That's really important. That's really important. I think this is the first time I mentioned this to.
Oh, really?
Public. But yeah, I think it is. I actually invested sometimes in that to find the proper way to select the food and the quantity of food. You can read about everything. I think if you go on the web, you can read about everything. But as I was saying, trying to explore something new, read about that, let's say, be interested in something else is always helpful. You always learn something, even if you read something which is wrong. But the more you read, the more you learn, the more you can have your opinion on that. And I don't know if it's right or wrong, but at least you have an idea and you don't follow everybody else without any reason.
Yeah. Was there something that got you interested in food and nutrition?
Yeah. It was coming from business adventure. So I had a partner which was really focused on food and the type of food. Especially was focused on, let's say, not being vegetarian, but how eating a lot of meat can affect your body. And starting from that there is a full world. So we started reading some books written by doctors, actually, and I really love numbers. So I like when I read, I like to see numbers there, or like proof. Maybe it's not proof; it's just sort of statistic, but I like to see that. And then from then you move forward. You start exploring, finding books and people, following people that say one thing, other thing. And this guy has a health issue, and was trying to help, let's say, his body with the food.
Okay.
And starting from that, it was like, I don't know, almost 10 years ago. You know, we build up our mindset, I would say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And everybody's different, so you've got to kind of figure it out for yourself also a little bit too. See where you feel best. And
correct. I mean, it's always, I try to eat very good, but I love sweets. So, I mean, you know, I love Nutella, so I try to eat Nutella. I know that maybe too much is too much, but I still love chocolate, which is good. You can learn that chocolate with like 90% of cocoa is much better than the chocolate with a lot of addition to it. But yeah, I mean, you have to investigate a bit and find a balance with your lifestyle. I can only eat vegetables.
Right.
I wouldn't be here probably, but I reduce a lot the amount of meat. I'm eating more vegetables. I'm trying to eat all of them organic. I'm trying to find the proper food with like a variety, not having only one type of food. So you have to put in your lifestyle. And you were saying we prepare also during the weekend. We prepare the food for the week.
Yeah.
Just avoid that because you are full, you have no time for something, you go and rush and you take whatever you find on the street, which is probably not good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, even traveling a lot is not easy because maybe you have a lot of dinners outside and you have to find, I mean, every single restaurant has something that you can pick, which is probably better than something else.
Yeah.
You have to, let's say, study a bit and be committed to that.
Right. Yeah, it's harder when you're traveling because you have all the other options. So you've got to be disciplined.
It's hard to get a salad when the customer in front of you is a big steak. But you can do that.
Yep.
If you know the reason behind it, I think you can do that.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. Didn't know that. So, all right, let's wrap up here with a couple more questions. How do you define success? And it can be in your own personal life, it can be professionally, a mix of everything. How would you define success?
So I think partially we already went on this. I think success is find a balance in your life, a balance that works, obviously, with something which is prioritized compared to the others. But everything has to stay and move forward together. Yeah. So I think this is my success.
Okay.
Obviously, my priority could be different from time to time. Mm-hmm. And we go back to don't base it down. Let's always explore something new, learn something new, be interested in something new, and because this will open something in the future that you maybe don't know now, but it's going to be useful like in a year from now or 10 years from now. What you learn now is part of yourself,
right?
And it keeps you alive. Yeah, I think the routine is the opposite of success.
Okay.
I'm trying to. I never stick to that actually, but I'm trying to build like a plan for the next 3 years, 4 years. Try to see where is my goal in 3 years from now.
Okay.
Honestly, never happened that I was able to plan something and in 3 years I was on the same path.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have an idea of what you want to do and try to do the best to follow that idea. But then on your path, you will have a lot of different choices that maybe are better because maybe you didn't see that before. Right. So you have to redo everything again. And we go back to balance. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I see myself really too focused on the business side. And when I understand that, I try to do one step back and rebalance my life. Because I know if I miss one piece of my daily life, it won't last won't last long. So it could be like a sort of rush. So you can do that for a while, a very small amount of time, but it's not going to last forever.
Right.
And at the end, your life is not a short period; it's a long period.
Right.
So you have to look forward, and it's like investment. If you invest a lot of money in a short amount of time, you can make a lot of money, but you can also lose a lot of money. If you plan in a safe way, without exposing yourself too much to a big risk, I think this is the way you last, not forever, but for a long time, like Warren Buffett probably, I don't know. They really plan everything. They have idea what the risk on down the street that you are facing, and you always have a plan B. Mm-hmm. And you know that if you fail here, not everything's at stake.
Yeah.
I mean, just you have to know all the scenario around the situation. So I think success is a very broad topic.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next question, I want to go a little bit deeper on what you said about Plan B, because people, and I know I've heard this, I'm sure others have as well, you hear one or two aspects of that. You either hear you can't have a Plan B because a Plan B is a plan to fail, right? And it's the whole burn the ships mentality. And then you've got what you just said, which is have a Plan B because you don't want to expose yourself too much to any downside potential, no matter what that is. So why do you have the mentality that you have? Let's start there.
I don't know. I think it comes from my financial side. You don't really know what's the future. You can be confident as much as you want on yourself, rely on somebody else, rely on market, but you don't really know all the aspects of your life. It can be everything that happens, everything. I mean, not just business, even personal. But you need to have a plan B if you invest in a business, if you are trying to achieve a specific goal, because on the path from A to B, everything can happen. And if you don't have a plan B, or you didn't think about what I'm going to do if this goes wrong, the only option you have is panic or find a solution in a short amount of time without, let's say, evaluating all the aspects. It always be something like that because you cannot, let's say, understand in advance all the possibilities you have in front of you. But at least you are prepared on let's say, on a portion of that. So you already know what to do. You already know what's going to be the next step, or what you are prepared to that. In a sort of way, you are prepared to that. Doesn't mean that you are prepared to fail. I don't want to fail. Obviously, nobody wants. But if I fail, I don't want to go bankrupt. I don't want to ruin, let's say, all my life. I don't want to put at stake everything that I've built so far. So it's something that helps you to survive in this world. Because, as I was saying, you can gain a lot in a short amount of time. But if you keep going this way, maybe you're right 1, 2, 3 times, but then it's going to be one that could take everything you built in the past. And I think it's the same thing with finance. If you invest in something, you can put everything. You can put all the egg in one basket. Mm-hmm. It can be good. It can be good for you, but it can be also risky. So maybe it's like, I don't know, for one single investment, you waste what you did so far. So 30 years or 40 years of investment for, which, I mean, I don't think is the good way. But obviously, I think put aside something, if something goes wrong, it's important. Yeah. It's important. Be ready for something is important. I think, I mean, all the companies, they run plan B if something goes wrong, an investment, a product, or whatever it is not as they forecasted. They have to know what to do without, let's say, rushing and taking wrong solution just because of the emotion of a specific moment.
Yeah, and if you don't have that plan B in place, then that's what you're forced to do if something comes up. You have to just rush to something. Yeah. So, yeah, really interesting. Okay, so we'll finish on this one. you had talked about trying to build a plan or at least an idea for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road. You and I are having a conversation 3 years from now, 4 or 5, whatever that number is. 3 is arbitrary. What happened in that period of your life where you can look back and say that was a successful point in your life?
I mean, right now, my probably 3 years plan, I would say, is a certain amount of things. So one would be my personal life, as I was telling you. So build a family, which doesn't matter to people, but probably one or two more, and would be right now, I would say stay in the United States, which I don't know. I have a plan B, but you know, and here I am. I like the country. I just moved here. I don't know how it's going to be in 3 years from now, but my plan is to stay here. From the professional point of view, I would like to be more, let's say, important for the company, meaning that what I did in 3 years from now is something solid, useful, and something that the company can build on top of it in order to grow the business and be a more solid company, a more efficient company, which is a very important point. And what else? There are some other aspects, but they are really personal. So we'll stop
there.
Those two goals, which are, I think, enough for the discussion.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was great talking with you.